What's happening? It's John from Long Island punk band Wrecked. It's Tuesday night. Working a little late, so I figured I'd take a break and talk about another 5 albums. Went through the rack, pulled out 5 that I want to talk about. Going to Rhode Island this weekend with the wife. Long overdue getaway, so I figured I'd put the time in now so I'm not so stressed tomorrow. So here's the first one. Just picked this up this weekend. The Del Lords, Frontier Days. Del Lords actually took their name from, excuse me, from an old director or producer of the Three Stooges films back in the 30s and 40s. My brother and I are big fans of the Three Stooges. My father used to play them for us all the time. I still watch them. They're fucking hilarious. Timeless, really. So, named after the producer Del Lord. This is Scott Kempner from the Dictators. If you remember the Dictators, 70s, I guess you call proto-punk band. That, they had that pre-Ramones sound. It was New York Dolls-ish, rock and roll sound to me. This is Scott Kempner's, after the Dictators broke up, this is his second project. That really captures the same spirit of New York rock, roots rock, sort of rockabilly rock. I love this album, and they have a few of them. This is their first one, came out in 1984, so very good album. I heard them on Sirius, and piqued my interest because this is the kind of stuff I'm into, roots rock. So very good. So I'm going to check out the rest of them. Getting back to the Dictators, Handsome Dick Manitoba and Ross the Boss on the guitar. Now, if you know Ross the Boss, he went on to form Manowar, sort of another 80s metal band that was, they were as metal as you got back then. Their first 5 albums are pretty fucking good. Battle Hymns, Into Glory Ride, Sign of the Hammer, Hail to England, and Fighting the World. And then Ross the Boss, he left that band, and then they put out, he was in Kings of Metal too. He left after Kings of Metal, but the band wasn't the same without him. He was the heart and soul of that band, and phenomenal player. But this guy Scott Kempner is not bad either. Does vocals as well. So again, if you're into roots rock, rockabilly, sort of like Stray Cats, kind of not as derivative as the Stray Cats, but still great listen. Okay, number 2, Van Halen 2. This is my favorite Van Halen album. Now, like everybody else my age at least, I got into Van Halen when Jump came out, 1984. Actually, I think it actually came out in 83, but the album 1984, and I had been talking to my next door neighbors and saying, "Oh, Van Halen," and they were older than me, like, "Oh yeah, you know Van Halen?" I said, "Yeah, Jump, right?" And they said, "Come in." So they sat me down and put on Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2. And I was like, wow, man, these guys got all these songs, holy shit. And again, Van Halen 1 was 1978, Van Halen 2, 1979. I was a toddler. How would I know this? And like I said, this is my favorite Van Halen album. It's got let's see, Dance the Night Away, got Somebody Get Me a Doctor, You're No Good, DOA, Spanish Fly. And the thing about Eddie Van Halen was that he revolutionized guitar playing, and there's not many people, and I'm kind of grateful that I grew up in this era of the guitar player, because prior to him, I don't know who there really was that revolutionized guitar playing. If you want to say Jimi Hendrix, rock guitar playing, I don't know, but him and Randy Rhoads to me were like, they brought heavy metal or rock and roll guitar playing into a whole new way of doing it. Eddie Van Halen, he single-handedly created a market of new guitars. Prior to that, the guitars people were playing were Les Pauls, Stratocasters, Telecasters, stuff like that, the Gibson Firebirds and stuff like that. But traditional guitars, and he started the era of the Super Strat, which is basically a Stratocaster body, single humbucker, Floyd Rose tremolo system. I'm not a fan. I've played guitars with them. I've owned guitars with versions of Floyd Roses, but I prefer Kayla if I'm gonna have a locking system, but I don't use that whammy bar as much. But everybody was doing these now. You had Chauvel, you had Jackson, Dean guitars, BC Rich, and you didn't see Les Pauls for a while. You didn't see the ES335s, Firebirds. You didn't see Telecasters and rock and roll. All you saw were these bright, stripped down Super Strats. Ibanez actually became one of the leading manufacturers. And Ibanez, I have two Ibanez now, but I had an older Ibanez, a '78, and it was a ST-105. Very good guitar. But Ibanez was once a Gibson knockoff company, and then got into their own designs. The Iceman, the Destroyer, which was more of a Explorer. But they're the Artist. I mean, they had some great designs, and once the Super Strats came into vogue, they ran with it, and they came out. They were probably the best ones. But Eddie Van Halen, everybody wanted to play like Eddie Van Halen. I did, then I realized I couldn't, and that kind of bummed me out. And I'm like, okay, I can't play like this, never. But what got me into guitar playing seriously is the next album. For 1987, Metallica, Garage Days Revisited. I had already been into Metallica when this came out. I got into Metallica when Master Puppets came out. Cliff Burton died, and they got Jason Newsted from Flotsam and Jetsam on this album. This is all cover songs, but just the ferocity of this blew me away. They sounded angry, they sounded fresh, they sounded raw, and I love this album. Helpless by Diamond Head, Last Caress, Green Hell, The Misfits, Small Hours, The Wait. The Wait's by Killing Joke, which the original version is much better than this one, but either way, this is why I got into guitar playing, because James Hetfield. And I'm going to show you, I don't know if I could really see it back, that picture of him. There's no bullshit. He dressed like how my friends and I dressed. Ripped jeans, biker jacket, concert t-shirt. His guitar wasn't brightly colored, didn't have graphics on it. It was just a Gibson, plain white Gibson Explorer, or the V that he played, but no bullshit. And they didn't wear makeup. And he was like, I looked up to him saying, hey, this guy doesn't look like the Eddie Van Halens. He doesn't play like these Eddie Van Halen clones, with the permed hair and the whammy bar and all this other bullshit. This is what I wanted to do. I mean, I can't play like him now. I never could, but he got me into it, saying, hey, maybe I can do this. And as a quick side note, the other thing was, the guy, when I grew up, again, wanting to play guitar, the guy down the block, I'm not going to say his name, he doesn't want to be a part of this video. I used to deliver newspapers to him. And he was older than my sister, so he was probably 5 or 6 years older than I was. And I delivered newspapers, and every time I went past his house, there'd be a new crew of long hairs there with, Slayer t-shirts, Metallica t-shirts, driving Chevy Novas, Chevy Malibus, Dodge Chargers, with, Dead of Summer with the jeans, and these girls had black jeans on and leather jackets in the summer, and I was just like, I don't know, to me that was cool. It still is cool, but to me it was like, I want to do this, And I knew he played guitar because I'd go past his house and I'd hear him playing like Creeping Death and all this other stuff. And I had my mother, because he was the neighborhood kid, so my mother actually talked to his mother and got me in there to watch him play one day. And he was the nicest guy. Actually, he sold me a BC Rich, great guitar. But he could play all that Van Halen stuff note for note, the Satriani stuff note for note. But he was a big metal fan. He loved Metallica. And, it was just funny. That's what got me into it. I'm like, all right, well, that's what I want to do. And I still can't play like James Hetfield. I can't play like Eddie Van Halen. I play like myself. But it sort of made it okay to not be as technically proficient and just have the attitude and the feeling of playing guitar. And that's why I play guitar, because of James Hetfield. All right, the next one, Long Island's own Scatterbrain. These guys came from the ashes of Ludachrist, another Long Island staple. I never got into Ludachrist because I was a little too young to see them live. They used to play at Sundance a lot. Their music is great, but this I really like. This came out in 1990, and I saw them when they toured this album. They played at Nassau Community College with Rosary Violet, and it was a great show. They were a great band, talented band. This wasn't as heavy as Ludacris. They got some airplay on for "Don't Call Me Dude." That was on MTV, I think. I think it was on the soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken. Encino Man, maybe. But they were talented guys. It wasn't, like I said, wasn't as fast or as heavy as Ludacris, but it was still great. And it wasn't quite thrash metal. It had elements of thrash, had elements of rock and roll, elements of like blues rock. But great album. I actually met Glenn Cummings, a guitar player, when I was working at the movie theater. He had come in, and I saw him, and I was like, oh shit. I went next door and I bought the CD. It wasn't this, it was a CD with that long box. Remember the CDs just come in those long cardboard boxes? I had him sign it. I don't know where it went. But the other guy Brogdon on the bass, he ended up, he owns All Music in Plainview music store. I bought a few guitars there. I bought my first real guitar, Gibson Explorer, I bought there. And then I bought a Gibson 12-string, which I traded it in after I didn't want to play it. It was old. It was a vintage one. It didn't sound right, but the guy took it back and gave me an Ovation 12-string, straight swap, which was great of him to do that. But All Music in Plainview is a great store, and you should support him if that's your thing, if you're looking for an instrument. All right, last but certainly not least, Grateful Dead, American Beauty. I've talked about this on previous videos about the Dead. I really don't know what to really say about them. They're one of my favorite bands, right up there with Black Sabbath. A band that I've been into. I got into these guys late, though, I got to tell you. When I was in high school, there was some Deadhead fans, and I didn't like the Dead because I didn't like their fans. I didn't like the style of dress. I certainly didn't like the drug abuse and all that stuff. I was really straight-laced as a kid. So I avoided this stuff, hippie stuff, It wasn't until, I hate to say it, in 1995, when Jerry Garcia died, is when I really heard the Dead. And I was coming home from Nassau Community College, and Jerry had died, and the local radio station, WBAB, was playing sort of like a vigil, and all Dead, So I had to turn the radio on in the parking lot, and I heard the song Ripple. And at that time, I'm listening to Bob Dylan, Neil Young, Buffalo Springfield, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Arlo Guthrie, and Woody Guthrie. A lot of folk stuff I'm listening to just because that's when my guitar playing was going. And I heard Ripple, and I'm like, oh, this is a great song. Who is this? It's Grateful Dead. I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, this is Grateful Dead? And I'm like, nah, it doesn't sound like them. To be fair, the only stuff I'd heard at that point was Casey Jones and probably Truckin'. So I'd heard this, and I was like, nah, I got to get this. And just what happens on the way home was Mr. Cheapo's in East Meadow, so I picked up a vinyl copy of this. This isn't my original copy. This is a repress on Rhino vinyl, 180 gram. I don't know where my original went. But I bought the original. I came home, put it on the turntable. Box of Rain, Friend of the Devil, Sugar Magnolia, Operator, Candyman. Then side 2, Ripple, Broke Down Palace, Till the Morning Comes, Addicts of My Life, and finishes it off with Truckin'. But I was just like, I was in tears listening to this. And not because of Jerry Garcia dying, it wasn't that. It was certain music, it gets me, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel that way about music. For me, it's like you watch those, the Sunday morning evangelical shows, or Joel Osteen, or whatever it is, that these preachers preach to these people, and they're crying, and they're really feeling the touch of the particular preacher, or the hand of God, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, like I said, I've never felt that way really in religion, but I feel a way about music. And this in particular, I can get into it, read the lyrics. It's not happy music. It gets you, and it gets me. And this is the version of the Dead I really like. Is the more of the serious songwriting. This and Working Man's Dead, both 1970, showed that side of the Dead, where it was less about jamming, more about songs. And every song on this is good. Every song on Working Man's Dead is good. This is just phenomenal, and there's not much more I could say about the Dead. I never got to see him live. I did see Dead and Company with John Mayer last October. he did a phenomenal job. He's a, he's no hack on the guitar. I didn't know he could play guitar like the way he does. I don't know why I don't like him. Probably just because of the, his douchiness overall. But he brings new life to those songs, and I was really glad to see them. And if they do it again, if we ever get to see live music again in the near future before some of these guys die, I'll certainly check them out again, because it was a really good time. Grateful Dead, any of their albums you can get something out of. This is my particular favorite. Then Working Man's Dead, Europe 72, and the list goes, Aoxo Moxoa, the list goes on and on. But I was very happy to be able to, see some versions of these songs. At least you have YouTube for the rest, but this is what American music's all about, and that's not a slight on any other type of other countries' music. Just American country music. It's even though I'm a Long Islander and I always will be, American country music just speaks to me somehow, and this is very country tinged, so it gets me. And this is one of my favorites, and it'll always be one of my favorites. So that's pretty much, those are the 5 I got. Like I said, when some stuff comes rolling in, I'll review it, put it up, but I'm not going to be buying anything new anytime soon, because of a lot of reasons. Mostly work is ramping up, and there's not a lot of time. So thank you for watching the video, and let me know what else you'd like to see. I have a shit ton of records. Again, I'm a music lover, I'm a music collector, and that's what it's all about for me. So and nothing new with the band, so when there is, you'll be the first to know. All right, thanks for watching.